अच्छा स्टूडेंट्स, आज हम न्यू चैप्टर स्टार्ट करें लीडरशिप एंड प्रोसेस। ये आपके नंबर 13 है। नाउ फर्स्ट द concept of leadership. What is meant by leadership or what is leadership? Basically, as a process, the use of influence to shape the group or organization's goals, motivate behavior toward the achievement of, and help define group or organizational culture as a proper set of characteristics attributed to individuals who are perceived to be leaders. Basically, the people who can influence the behavior of others without having to rely on force, those accepted by others as leaders affect. And the part is the ability to affect the behavior of others. Student, this is leadership versus management. Like, for example, if the activity is creating an agenda, then management will do the planning and budgeting, and the leadership will establish direction. Like, management will establish the detailed steps and timetables for achieving needed results, allocating the resources necessary to those needs with results. And leadership will develop a vision of the future, often the distinct future, and the strategies for producing the changes needed that vision. And if the activities of developing a human network for achieving the agenda, the management will do organizing and staffing, and leadership will align people. In organizing and staffing, the management will establish some structure for accomplishing plan requirements, staffing the structure with individuals delegating responsibility and authority for carrying out the plan, providing policies and procedures to guide people, whereas the leadership will communicate the directions by word and lead everyone who is the part of the organization. And if the activities of executing plan, the management will be controlling and problem solving, and leadership will motivate and inspire. And controlling and problem solving, management will monitor results versus planning in some details, identifying deviations and then planning and organizing to solve these problems. Whereas the leadership will energize people to overcome major political, bureaucratic, and resource barriers by satisfying very basic but often fulfilled human needs. And if the task is of outcomes, the management will produce a degree of predictability and order, and whereas the leadership will produce change, often to be dramatic degree. Okay, it has a potential to produce extremely useful change. For example, new plant that customers want, or new approaches to labor relations that help make a firm more competitive. Okay, the nature of leadership, legitimate power. Basically, power granted to the organizational hierarchy, the power defined by the organization to be accorded to people occupying particular position. Okay, this is the legitimate power. And what is reward power? It is the power to give or withhold rewards. Reward that a manager may control include salary increase, bonuses, promotion recommendations, praise, recognition, and interesting job assignment. Coercive power is the power to force compliance by means of psychological, emotional, or physical threat. In the past, physical coercion in organizations are relatively common. In more organizations today, however, it to verbal or written layoff. And the next is referent power. Referent power is a personal power that occurs to someone based on identity and charisma. And the expert power, it is basically the personal power that occurs to someone based on the or expertise that he or she. Next is power. The first is request or power. The manager requests that the subordinate comply because the subordinate recognizes the organization has given the manager the right to make a request. So most day-to-day interactions between the manager and subordinates are of this type. The second one is instrumental compliance. Instrumental compliance. A manager asks a subordinate to do something outside the range of the the range of the subordinates normal. Like, for example, working extra hours on weekends, studying a relation with a long-standing buyer, or delivering a bad news. The subordinate complies, and a direct result, he receives praise or bonus from the manager. The next is coercion. It suggests that a subordinate will be punished, fired, if he does not do something or if he does not meet a criteria. The rational persuasion occurs when the manager can convince the subordinate that compliance is in the subordinate's best interest. For example, a manager might argue that the subordinate should accept a transfer because it would be good for the subordinate. The next is personal identification. A manager who recognizes that she has a referent power over a subordinate can shape the behavior of that subordinate by engaging in desired behavior. The manager consciously becomes a model for the subordinate and exploits personal identity. Okay, the search for the leadership trait. Basically, we will study the generic approaches to leadership. Leadership traits are basically the leadership quality. Okay, and we will study the leadership behavior. First one is Michigan study, and under Michigan study the job-centered leadership behavior. It is basically the behavior of leaders who pay close attention to the job and work procedure involved with that job. And the next is employee-centered behavior. This behavior of leaders who develop cohesive work groups and ensure employee satisfaction. Basically, Michigan is a state and it's a university over there, and they have conducted research on leadership. Next is Ohio State studies, initiating structured behavior, the behavior of leaders who define the leader-subordinate role so that everyone knows what's expected, established formal lines of communication, and determine how tasks will be performed. And the next is consideration behavior, the behavior of leaders who show concern for subordinates and attempt to establish a warm, friendly, and supportive client system. You may study this slide. It's basically the leadership behavior and a research published by Ohio State. Next is the leadership trait. Students, we have two things in horizontal. We have concern for production, and in vertical, concern for people. Basically, concern for production is the part of the managerial grade that deal with the job and task aspects of the leadership behavior. And the concern for people is the part of the managerial grade that deal with the human aspects of the leader behavior. If you look at the bottom of the grade, 1, concern for production low and concern for people is also low. The improvised management. This is improvised management. Session of minimum effort to get required work done is appropriate to sustain organizational membership. Next is 9.1. If the concern for production is high, and the concern for people is low, it is authority compliant. Efficiency in operations results from arranging conditions of work in such a way that human elements interfere to a minimum degree. The next is a moderate approach, the middle road to management. If the concern for production is moderate and the concern for people is moderate, then this is the middle road of management. It's basically the adequate organizational performance is possible through balancing the necessity to get out of work with maintaining morale of people at a satisfactory level. As if you look at this, the concern for production is low and the concern for people is high. 1.9. It's country club management. Thoughtful attention to the need of people for satisfying relationships to a comfortable, friendly organization, atmosphere and work temp. And the ideal case where the concern for production is high and the concern of people is also high. It's a team management. The work accomplishment is from committed people. Interdependence through a common stake in organization purpose leads to relationship of trust and respect. I hope you are clear on this. Students, do you have any query? Okay. The next is situational approach to leadership. It assumes that appropriate leader behavior varies from one situation to another, and key situational factors that are interacting to determine appropriate leader behavior can be identified. And the variables influencing the decision making are leadership characteristics, subordinates characteristics, and situational characteristics. Okay, the leadership characteristics are the value system, confidence in subordinates, personal incline, and a feeling of security. And subordinate characteristics are independence, need, readiness for responsibility, tolerance of ambiguity, interest in the problem, understanding goal, knowledge, experience, and expectation. Where are the situational characteristics are the type of organization, group effectiveness, the problem itself, and the time pressure. And this is the situational. This is the model of situational approach to leadership. So have a look on this. This is the boss-centered leadership. I'm moving my cursor. I hope you can see that. It's the boss-centered leadership, use of authority by manager. The one in the blue color and the one in the light green shade are the areas of freedom for subordinates and subordinate-centered leadership. Okay? First one is manager make decision and encourages announce it. This is the boss-centered leadership. The manager make decision and announce it. Okay? If you have more of the boss-centered leadership and less of area of freedom, the manager presents ideas and invites questions. Okay? And the case in which the area of freedom for subordinates are more than this job-centered leadership, the manager presents problem, get suggestion, and make decision. And a situation in which the area of freedom of subordinate is 99% and the boss-centered leadership is 1%, you can see that the manager permits subordinates to function within the limit defined by superiors. And now the other case, if the job-centered leadership, the area of freedom for subordinates are less, then the manager sets decision. And if it's you can say both are balanced, the manager presents tentative decision subject to change. And the next is the manager defines limits and asks group to make decision. The least preferred coworker theory. It is basically LPC theory. The LPC theory is a theory of leadership that suggests that the appropriate style of leadership varies with situational favorableness. And the least preferred co-worker measures are the measure scale that ask leaders to describe a person with whom he or she is able to work least well. So it's a scale of 1 to 8. And then from 1 we start frustrating and till 8 helpful. And same is from it tends to relax measure. From 10 we start from 1 and relaxed 8. So boring and interesting is same, boring on number 1 and interesting on number 8. So it's a complete scale for measuring. Okay, the favorableness of situation, students, basically leader-member relationship. Yep, here, leader-member relationship. It's basically it refers to the nature of the relationship between the leader and the work. If the leader and the group have a high degree of mutual trust, respect, and confidence, and if they know one another, relations are assumed to be good. If there is little trust, respect, or confidence, and if they do not like one another, the relations are poor. Naturally, good relations are more favorable. The next is task structure, and basically it is the degree to which group task is well defined. The task is structured when it is routine, easy, understood, and unambiguous. And when the group has standard procedures and they rely on it, and unstructured task is non-routine, ambiguous, and complex, and not basically with no standard procedure or say. Okay? For example, like if the task is unstructured, the group will know what to do, and the leader will have to play a major role in guiding and directing its activity. And if the task is structured, the leader will have to get involved and can devote time to unsupervisory activity. Okay, hold on. I think there are messages on chat. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, walaikum assalam. Again, students, favorable leader. Acha, I left with one. Position power. Position power is basically the power vested in the leader's position. And if the leader has the power to assign work and reward and punish employee, position power is assumed to be strong. But if the leader gets job assignments approved by someone else and does not administer reward, punishment, position, and then it will be difficult to accomplish goals. Student, this is this model of the LPC theory of leadership, least preferred co-worker theory of leadership. Have a look on it. Contingency factors are basically the factors that depend on something else in order to happen. We have a scale leader-member relations. The situation is good or bad. Leader-member relations are good or bad. Basically, the contingency factors are situation, and the leader-member relations are good or bad. Okay, there are only two sides, one's good or bad. This task structure may be high or low in both the cases. Good leader-member relation or bad leader-member relation, the task structure will be high, low, and high, low. The next is position bar. Same is the case with the position bar. We have two options, like the position bar can be strong or maybe weak. If the situation is good and the task structure is high, we have two options. The position bar may be strong or weak. And if the situation is good and the task structure is low, the position bar may be strong or weak. Same is the case with the bad leader-member relationship. This task structure may be high or low, and the position bar may be high or strong and weak in both the cases of high and in the bottom, favorableness of the situation and appropriate leader behavior. And if the contingency factor, the situation is good and the task structure is high and position bar is strong, the favorableness of this situation is favorable, and the leadership behavior will be task oriented. And if the leader member relationship is like low and the position bar is strong, the situation will be favorable and task oriented. Now come to the other side. If the situation is bad and the task structure is high, the position bar is strong, moderate. Yes, okay. The favorableness of the situation will be moderate, and the leader behavior will be relationship oriented. And if the leader member relationship is bad and task structure is high, position bar is weak, the favorableness of the situation is moderately favorable, and the leadership behavior will be relationship oriented. And in a case where the leader-member relationship is bad and task structure is low, the position bar, whether it's strong or weak, the situation will be unfavorable, and the appropriate leader behavior will be task-oriented. Two other students have joined the class. Let me switch on their mic. Student, the next theory, path goal theory. Basically, path goal theory suggests that the primary functions of a leader are to make value or desired rewards available in the workplace and to clarify for the subordinate the kind of behavior that will lead to those rewards. Okay. Now, under the PAT code leadership, we will discuss the leadership behaviors. Number one is directive leader behavior, and basically the directive leader behavior is the one letting subordinates know what is expected of them, give guidance and direction, and schedule work. Whereas the supporter leader behavior is being friendly, approachable, basically showing concern for subordinate welfare and treating members as equal. The another leadership behavior is participative leadership behavior. It includes consulting with subordinates and allowing participation in decision making. The achievement-oriented leader behavior means setting a challenging goal, expecting subordinates to perform at high level, encouraging subordinates, and showing confidence in subordinates' ability. Students, have a look on this. The path goal theory. Basically, it is path to goal theory. The situational factors are like if the work situation is followers lack self-confidence and the leadership style is sportive, it will have an impact on followers that they will increase their self-confidence to complete tasks, and the expected results will be increased effort, job satisfaction, and performance, fewer grievance. And if the work situation is that the lack of job challenge, the leadership style will be achievement oriented, and the impact on followers will be to encourage selling high but attainable goals. And whereas the expected results will be improved performance and greater job satisfaction. And if the work situation is improper procedure and poor decisions, the leadership style will be participative, and it has impact on followers, like it clarifies followers' need for making suggestions and involvement. The expected results will be improved performance and greater satisfaction, less turnover rate. And if the work situation is ambiguous job, the leadership directive style of leadership will be required, and it will clarify path, get rewards, and the expected results will be the improved performance, and job satisfaction. Students, do you have any query related to these theories? Till now, we have studied leadership, its definition, the distinctions between management and leadership. Then we have studied different leadership parts, authority or power, and then how to use those powers. After that, we have studied the leadership trait, basically generic approaches to leadership. First one is leadership trait, then we have studied the leader behavior, then we studied managerial trait. After that, we studied situational approaches to leadership. Then we studied LPC theory and favorableness of leadership style. After that, we have studied path and goal theory. I hope I'm clear till now. This is the framework of path to goal theory to leadership. Have a look on this. Okay, this subordinates personal characteristics are perceived ability and locus of control. Earlier, we have studied the internal locus of control and the external locus of control. Leadership behavior are like directive style, sportive style of behavior, or participative, achievement oriented. These are the leadership behavior. And the environmental characteristics are task oriented or group oriented. And this all will lead to subordinates motivation to perform. So let me give you a question. Just wait for a minute. I'm in search of a question. I will upload a document. Just wait a while. It's basically a study. One last time, 5 students have. I have also shared it. But can you see edge of corruption? Students have to study whole case. Noting it. I just have a look on this, and after this case study, we will discuss the following question. The leadership and management case study. Have a look on. Students, can you view it? Students, here is the case study. Read it. Question मेरा ये था, which leadership पैरों में अपनी one by one. Basically, the model suggests that the group support is low and the group. Okay, students. अच्छा सॉरी स्टूडेंट्स, मैं एक लिंक ओपन कर दी थी तो उसमें 1 मिनट देर लगी है। अस्सलाम वालेकुम, 1 मिनट में देखूं कितने स्टूडेंट्स आए हैं। 23 आ गए। चले सही है, अच्छा हो गया। अभी जिनका माइक ऑन नहीं है, मैं ऑन करके यहाँ से आगे लेक्चर जो है वो रिज्यूम करती हूँ। 1 मिनट का टाइम दीजिएगा मुझे। ओके स्टूडेंट्स, हम लोगों ने पाथ गोल थ्योरी तक पढ़ा था। Sorry. Students, next is from the CM tree approach. So basically, this predicts what kind of situation call for different degree of group participation. Okay, students, the decision-making styles in this decision approach are number one, besides that the manager make a decision alone and then announce or sell it to the group. ठीक है, sell it to the group होता है आप convince करते हो, अपना idea देते हो और फिर logic देते हो कि इसको क्यों माना जाना चाहिए। तो ये आप कहते हो कि आप इस idea को sell कर। ठीक है, consult two types के हैं, individually and in a group. Well, consultation in a individually are the manager present the problem to group members individually, abstain their suggestions, and then make the decisions. And the consultation in a group is like the manager present the problem to the group members at a meeting and their suggestions, and then make the decision. The next decision-making style is facilitate. The manager present the problem to the group at a meeting, define the problem and its boundaries, and then facilitate group members' discussion as they make the decision. The last one is delegate. In this, the manager allows the group to define for itself the exact nature and parameter of the problem and then develop a solution. Student, this is the model from time-driven decision making. As you can see, the problem statement number one is decision significance, then importance of commitment, then leader expertise, likelihood of commitment, group support, group expertise, and team competence. And vertically, you can decide, delegate, facilitate, consult. These are the options. Like if the problem decision significance is high and the importance of commitment is also high, the leader expertise is high, and the likelihood of commitment is high, then the leader will delegate. Then the leader will decide. And if the decision significance is high and the importance of commitment is high, but the leader expertise is low, and the likelihood in the case of likelihood of commitment and high group support, high expertise, and high team competence, the leadership style will be facilitated. And if the case is opposite, the group support is low and the group expertise is not available, team competence is not there, then the leader will consult individually. Okay? Then in a case where the significance is high and importance of commitment is low, leader expertise is low and the group support is high, group expertise is high, and team competence is high, the leader will facilitate the decision. And if you take case where the decision significance is low and importance of commitment is also low, in that case, the leader will decide. And in a case where the importance of commitment is high and the likelihood of commitment is also high, the leader will decide. This is the same elements approach, leader member exchange approach. Basically, it stresses that leader have different kind of relationship with different subordinates. Basically, it stresses the importance of variable relationship between the supervisor and each of the subordinate leaders from a unique independent relationship. Vertical ties are with each subordinate, in which subordinates become a member of the leader outgroup or in-group. I hope you have an idea about out-group and in-group. Basically, the model suggests that supervisors establish a special relationship with a small number of trusted subordinates and referred to as an in-group. And in-group usually receives special duties requiring responsibility and autonomy. They may also receive special privileges, whereas the subordinates who are not a part of, you can say, the organization or the group, basically the group, they are called out group, and they receive less of the supervisor's time and attention. Next is the related perspective on leadership. This is also same from the previous concept, the leader member exchange approach, where you can view the characteristic of that substitute for leadership. Subordinate its ability, their experience, their need for independence, professional orientation, indifference toward organizational goals. And the tasks are basically the routine tasks, the availability of feedback, and intrinsic transactions. And in organization, the group cohesion, inflexibility, and rigid reward structure. Next is a related perspective on leadership, charismatic leadership. Students, basically, charismatic leadership is that it basically assumes that charisma is an individual characteristic of the leader, like Kaidiasm. And basically, charisma is a form of interpersonal attraction that inspires support and acceptance. You can say that. You may read this slide. Basically, the charismatic leadership ideas are quite popular among managers today, and they are the subject of numerous books and articles. The charismatic leaders in organizations must be able to envision the future, set high expectations, and model behavior consistent with expectation, energize others through a demonstration of excitement, confidence, and pattern of success, and enable others to support them by empathizing with them and by expressing the confidence in them. The other related perspective on leadership is transformational leadership. Basically, leadership that goes beyond ordinary expectations by transmitting a sense of mission, stimulating learning experiences, and inspiring new ways of thinking. So this is the transformational leadership. The 7 key to successful leadership are also listed in this slide. Next, emerging approaches to leadership. Number 1 is the strategic leadership, then the cross-cultural leadership, and then the ethical leadership. This structural leadership is basically the capability to understand the complexities of both the organization and its environment, and to lead change in organization in order to achieve and maintain a speedier alignment between the organization and its environment. And the second cross-cultural leadership. Okay, the cross-cultural leadership. It's another approach, and it is based on cross-cultural issues. The culture is basically used as a broad concept of basically encompass both international differences and the diversity-based differences within one culture. Like, for example, when a Japanese firm sends an executive who had the firm operation in the United States, the person will need to become accumulated or acclimated to the cultural differences that exist between the two of the countries and to change his or her leadership style accordingly. I hope through this example you have a clear idea of cross-cultural leadership. Then the next is ethical leadership. Basically, the reputation is everything, and more the high standard of ethics or the conduct are being held a prerequisite for effective leadership. ये आप देखिएगा वैसे जो आप लोग मैनेजमेंट का कर रहे हो ना बेसिकली इसमें लीडरशिप तो मैं उसको बेसिकली काउंट करती हूँ कि जिन्होंने अपने बिजनेस स्टार्ट किए हों और एक ही जनरेशन में मतलब जबरदस्त किस्म का उन्होंने प्रोग्रेस किया और पूरे एम्पायर बनाई हो और ऐसे बहुत सारे पाकिस्तान में बिजनेसेस हैं और ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड तो मिलियंस में हैं और कुछ तो ऐसे हैं कि जिनको पूरी वर्ल्ड जानती है बेसिकली जो है वो उस टाइप के बिजनेसेस जो हैं वो जो उस टाइप की लीडरशिप है कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में हम उसको देखते हैं मगर जनरली जो डिफरेंट टाइप की लीडरशिप्स है वो मैं एक दफा एक नजर आप लोगों से जो है ना उससे गुजरवा दे क्योंकि लीडरशिप क्वालिटी जो है ये किसी किसी में होती है और ये हमें जिंदगी के तकरीबन हर ही फेज में जो चाहिए होती है अच्छा ये लीडरशिप थ्रू कंपैशन है और इसमें प्रिंसेस डियाना की एग्जांपल है ठीक है लाइक 1980s में जो है ये एड्स आपको पता है डिजीज है और वर्ल्ड में इसके बारे में जो है हर ही ऐसी डिजीज जिसमें मरने के चांसेस ज्यादा होते हैं तो लोगों को लगता है वो अछूत टाइप है आप हाथ नहीं लगाते तो 19 अप्रैल 1987 को प्रिंसेस डियाना जो कि आप लोग जानते होंगे बहुत ही मशहूर जो है पर्सनैलिटी थी उन्होंने यूके के जो एक हॉस्पिटल कह ले या फर्स्ट यूनिट जो था जो HIV और एड्स को डील कर रहा था वहां गए थे और जब पेशेंट से जो है उन्होंने हैंडशेक किया था और ग्लव्स भी नहीं पहने हुए थे आपको पता है कि ये प्रिंसेस और ये क्वीन वगैरह तो आम लोगों से वैसे ही हैंडशेक नहीं करते और इन्होंने ग्लव्स पहने होते हैं और हाथों का पोस्टर भी ऐसे रखा होता है कि कोई आके जो है हाथ ही ना करे हाथ मिलाने के लिए तो इन्होंने जो है ये इतना बोल्ड स्टेप लिया था हैंडशेक भी किया था लोगों की परसेप्शन टोटली इस डिजीज की तरफ जो है वो चेंज हो गई नेक्स्ट है लीडरशिप थ्रू सर्वाइवल मलाला यूसुफजई की के वर्ल्ड में इनको माना जाता है अपने पाकिस्तान में तो कोई इतनी खास लेफ्ट नहीं कराई जाती स्लैंग में मैं ये कहूंगी और ओरिजिनली जो है इसको जो है बेसिकली लोग थोड़ा क्रिटिकली देखते हैं मगर चूंकि नोबेल प्राइज मिला हुआ पाकिस्तान में दो ही लोगों को नोबेल प्राइज मिला है तो एक जो थे वो फिजिक्स से रिलेटेड थे डॉक्टर अब्दुल सलाम और दूसरी मलाला यूसुफजई है इनकी स्टोरी ये कि बेसिकली नॉर्थ वेस्ट पाकिस्तान से थी और तालिबान जो है वो एजुकेशन जो गर्ल्स एजुकेशन है उसको थोड़ा इतना प्रमोट भी करते बैन थी इस एरिया में और ये किसी तालिबान गनमैन ने इनको शॉट किया था 3 टाइम्स हेड पे और जब ये जागी थी हॉस्पिटल में तो उन्होंने सबसे पहले अपने पेन के बारे में पूछा ठीक है यूजली साइकी ये कि अच्छा अगर बच्चा अपने किसी खिलौने या चीज के बारे में पूछ रहा है तो वो उसको वो चीज पसंद है वेस्ट ने इसको इस तरह लिया कि चूंकि जिंदगी मौत का मसला था और इन्होंने पेन का पूछा तो डेफिनेटली बच्ची जो है ये एजुकेशन की तरफ बहुत सीरियस है वगैरह वह इनका आप ट्विटर अकाउंट चेक कीजिएगा ये ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड लेक्चर्स भी डिलीवर करती हैं जितनी हाई प्रोफाइल पर्सनैलिटीज हैं उधर भी मिलती है गर्ल्स एजुकेशन पे इनका काफी अच्छा खासा स्ट्रॉन्ग वो जो है स्टेटमेंट्स जो इनकी तरफ से जो है वो इशू होती है फिर उन्होंने यूनाइटेड नेशन में एड्रेस किया हुआ सो लीडरशिप थ्रू सर्वाइवल में मलाला यूसुफजई की एग्जांपल है ठीक है फिर आप ये देख ले लीडरशिप थ्रू इंस्पिरेशन है मार्टिन लूथर किंग है आई हैव अ ड्रीम स्पीच इनकी स्पीच में आपको रखा आई हैव अ ड्रीम दैट माय 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character I have a ड्रीम टुडे ठीक है तो किसी किस्म की रेसिज्म ना हो इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट हो वायलेंस ना हो ठीक है, तो ये उस टाइप का है, एक नजर आप इसको देख लें। ये भी एक इंस्पिरेशन है ना, कोई बंदा उठे और उठ के जो है बिल्कुल एक डिफरेंट बात करे, रेसिज्म पे करे। और ये हमारे मुल्क में इतना इशू नहीं है, बाहर तो ये ब्लैक और व्हाइट और ये वाला इस तरह की डिस्क्रिमिनेशन बहुत सारी है। नेक्स्ट है स्टूडेंट्स लीडरशिप थ्रू पॉलिटिक्स, को भी रीड कर लें, लीडरशिप थ्रू पॉलिटिक्स था। ये नेक्स्ट वाला स्टाइल ऑफ लीडरशिप तो आप लोगों ने नहीं पढ़ा हुआ, तो मैं इसको रहने देती हूँ। मगर बेसिकली ये स्टोरी ये कि कॉपर गोल्ड माइन में बहुत सारे लोग जो है वो अंडरग्राउंड फंस गए थे, और उसमें से जो है एक बंदे ने इस सारे एक्सीडेंट में क्या किया कि उसने एक डिटेल्ड मैप बनाया और लोगों को हेल्प आउट किया रेस्क्यू करने के लिए, और वो सबसे आखिरी था जो निकलने वाला था। तो वो इस सारी सिचुएशन में वो जो है काम एंड कूल रहा, उसने लोगों को हेल्प आउट किया। तो ये इसका था लीडरशिप थ्रू टेकिंग अ स्टैंड। बेसिकली ये भी आपके जो है बुक के टॉपिक्स में से नहीं है, ठीक है, क्योंकि वो मैनेजमेंट से रिलेटेड है। नेक्स्ट जो है वो है डिस्कवर लीडरशिप स्टाइल ऑफ फेमस लीडर्स। ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल लीडर है। स्टूडेंट्स ये जो साइड पे आ रहा है इसको अवॉइड कीजिएगा, आप जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे आ रहा है ना इसको देखें। लीडरशिप स्टाइल नंबर 1 है ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल लीडर, ठीक है, ये आपने अभी आज के टॉपिक में पढ़ा है, और उसकी एक एग्जाम्पल इन्होंने इधर लिखी है, इसको रीड कर लीजिए स्टूडेंट्स। ये लीडरशिप स्टाइल नंबर 1 ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल लीडर पर है, ठीक है। इसकी एक एग्जांपल है फिर क्रिस्मेटिक लीडर के। वैसे मैं आपको बताऊं, क्रिस्मेटिक लीडर में कायद आजम मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना की एग्जांपल सबसे फिट आती है। इवन पाकिस्तान के जब गवर्नर जनरल बने थे तो डिजिग्नेशन वाइज जो है प्राइम मिनिस्टर का जो ऑफिस है वो अथॉरिटी उनके पास ज्यादा थी, मगर लोग बात मानते कायद आजम की थी, फॉलो उन्हें करते थे। पाकिस्तान मूवमेंट में भी उन्हें करते थे, बाद में भी उन्हें करते थे। चलिए बाहर जो उन्होंने इंटरनेशनल वेबसाइट्स पे मिला हुआ है डेटा, इसको आप पढ़ लीजिए। ये जिन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का जिक्र कहेंगे ना, बेशक आप इंटरनेट पर इसको ओपन करके चेक भी कर लीजिएगा। नेक्स्ट है करिस्मेटिक लीडर। मीनवाइल मैं ये वेबसाइट खोल के ना आपके साथ शेयर करती हूँ। चलो मंडेला का कर लेते हैं। आपको पता है जब ये जेल से रिलीज हुए थे और जब आए थे गवर्नमेंट में, तो इन्होंने सबको माफ कर दिया था, और इन्होंने कहा था कि इधर से आगे हमने जो है बेटरमेंट की तरफ जाना है, और मैं किसी से किसी किस्म का कोई बदला नहीं लूंगा, इस तरह करके कहा था। तो वो जो एक डर था लोगों में, वो जो है वो खत्म हो गया। फिर पार्टिसिपेटिव लीडरशिप स्टाइल है, फिर ऑटोक्रेटिक लीडरशिप स्टाइल है, ठीक है, ठीक है। Political behaviors can basically the activities carried out for the specific purpose of acquiring, developing, and using power and other resources to obtain one preferred outcome. तो उसको political behavior कहते हैं, ठीक है। अपना influence use करते हुए, अपनी अथॉरिटी यूज करते हुए, पावर यूज करते हुए जो है जो किया अगर किसी किस्म का जो है क्या करना चाहिए, टारगेट अचीव किया जाए। तो होपफुली आपको स्लाइड नजर आ रही हो कि पॉलिटिकल बिहेवियर क्या दी एक्टिविटीज कैरी आउट फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक पर्पस ऑफ एक्वायरिंग, डेवलपिंग एंड यूजिंग पावर एंड अदर रिसोर्सेज टू ऑब्टेन वन प्रेफर्ड आउटकम। तो कॉमन पॉलिटिकल बिहेवियर स्टूडेंट्स क्या होते हैं? नंबर 1 इंड्यूसमेंट होता है। इंड्यूसमेंट क्या है कि किसी बंदे को कोई चीज ऑफर करना कि अगर वो आपको सपोर्ट करते, ठीक है। जैसे लोग ये नहीं कहते कि आप मुझे वोट दो मैं आपको ये दे दूंगा, ठीक है। या इंड्यूसमेंट ऐसा हुआ कि अच्छा मैं अपना आइडिया जो है वो फ्लोट दूंगा और तुम मीटिंग में मेरा साथ दे देना, ठीक है। ऑफरिंग टू गिव समथिंग टू समवन इन रिटर्न फॉर द पर्सन सपोर्ट, और वो उससे कि ठीक है अगर मैं तुम मुझे सपोर्ट करोगे तो मैं फिर तुम्हें सपोर्ट करूंगा, या ये कह के अच्छा मैं तुम्हारे साथ लंच पे चलूंगा, या कोई भी ऑफर जो है ये इंड्यूसमेंट में आती है। फिर persuasion है, basically persuade करना ना to other to support a goal on ground that are objective and logical as well as subjective and personal, ठीक है। persuade करना किसी को क्या करना चाहिए, मोटिवेट तो नहीं कहेंगे, persuade करना होता है कि उसको मनाना कि अच्छा ठीक है तो मुझे इन ग्राउंड में सपोर्ट कर लो, ये ऑब्जेक्टिव है, ये है उसको कन्विंस करना। फिर है क्रिएशन ऑफ एन ऑब्लिगेशन, basically providing support for another person's position that obliges that person to return the favor at a future date, ठीक है। आज अगर किसी को सपोर्ट कर दिया तो कल को वो वापस आपको जो है उस फेवर रिटर्न करेगा, उसको कहते हैं क्रिएशन ऑफ एन ऑब्लिगेशन। प्रिकॉशन है, basically using force to get one way, and impression management is making a direct an intentional effort to enhance one image in the eye of others, ठीक है। इसके अलावा जो है मैनेजिंग पॉलिटिकल बिहेवियर्स, आप अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जिस टाइप के पॉलिटिकल बिहेवियर्स है इसको कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं। देखिए ये आजकल का इशू है, क्योंकि ह्यूमन रिसोर्स हर जगह इनके डिपार्टमेंट्स होते हैं, जितने लोग जॉब कर रहे होंगे उनको ये फेयर आइडिया होगा कि वर्क प्लेस में पॉलिटिक्स होती है। अब ये डिपेंड करता है कि लेवल क्या है, तो हर लेवल के हिसाब से पॉलिटिक्स होती है। यहाँ तक कि काम करने वाले जो एंसेलरी स्टाफ है वो भी वहां पे उस लेवल पे भी पॉलिटिक्स होती है, मैनेजर लेवल्स पे भी होती है, और ऊपर जो है टॉप मैनेजर लेवल उधर तो अलग ही लेवल होता है पॉलिटिक्स का। ठीक है, क्योंकि काम जहाँ पे तो आप लोगों ने अपने एम्प्लॉयज को एंगेज कर दिया ना, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे दी, फीडबैक का कह दिया, चैलेंज कर दिया, वो कहीं बिजी हो गए, मसरूफ हो गए, वहां पे पॉलिटिक्स फिर मैनेज हो जाती है। तो इससे ऊपर के लेवल में तो पॉलिटिक्स इससे ज्यादा होती है। बाहर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में आप पॉलिटिक्स को कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं? नंबर वन, बी अवेयर दैट इवन इफ actions are not politically motivated, others may assume that they are. Second, reduce the likelihood of subordinates engaging in political behavior by providing them with autonomy, responsibility, challenge and feedback. मेरी एक बॉस ऐसी थी कि जो फ्री नहीं बैठने देती थी। अगर उनको लगा है ना कि आज के दिन में कुछ ऐसा टास्क नहीं आया, तो वो छोटा मोटा कोई काम देख के ना और रिपोर्टिंग टाइम लिख देती थी कि इस वक्त तक टास्क जो है वो करके दे दे, और टास्क भी कोई इतना सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं होता था, मगर बजाय इसके कि 2-4 घंटे एम्प्लॉय फ्री रहें और फिर गॉसिपिंग करें और फिर मैनेजमेंट डिस्कस करें, तो वो एंगेज है। ये भी एक मैनेजमेंट का जो है ये स्टाइल होता है। फिर अवॉइडिंग यूजिंग पावर टू अवॉइड charges of political motivation, get disagreements and conflict out in the open so that subordinates have less opportunity to engage in political behavior। ये एक बहुत ही अच्छा स्टेप है। अगर आप मीटिंग्स कर लो, जो आपकी नई पॉलिसी आ रही है, जो चीज भी आपने करनी इम्प्लीमेंट करनी है, उसे ओपनली डिस्कस कर दो, और आप एम्प्लॉयज को कहो कि मुझे फीडबैक आप बताएं। किसी को कोई कुछ ऐड करना चाहे तो आपको वहीं पे जो लोग बोल देते हैं ना, आपको एक आइडिया हो जाता है कि वो कहाँ पे बोल रहे हैं, आप उसको ना सिचुएशन पे वहां पे डील कर सकते हो, या आफ्टरवर्ड्स आप उसको देख सकते हो कि अच्छा मुझे यहाँ पे ये कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आ सकते हैं, तो आप वे कर लेते हो कि आपको चलना चाहिए या आपको नहीं चलना चाहिए। दूसरा ये कि अगर ओपनली डिसएग्रीमेंट हो जाए तो आप उस पर लॉजिक देके उससे कन्विंस करने की कोशिश कर लेते हो। मैं क्या अगर आप एक दफा कमांड दे दो, बता दो और फीडबैक ना लो, लोगों को जाने दो, तो वो फिर बाद में जाके एक दूसरे से जो है डिस्कस करता है, अच्छा आज उन्होंने ये कह दिया, अच्छा ये कह दिया, ये ठीक नहीं था या इस तरह होना चाहिए था, वो फिर ना खिचड़ी पकना शुरू हो जाए। लास्ट इज अवॉइड कवर्ट बिहेवियर दैट गिव द इंप्रेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिकल इंटेंट इवन इफ नन एक्सिस्ट। ठीक है, इस टाइप के बिहेवियर जो ये इंप्रेशन दे के अच्छा ठीक है आपका कोई इंटेंशन है या आप सस्पिशियस नजर आ रहे हो, इसको अवॉइड करना चाहिए। अगर आपका लोगों का तो हो भी, अगर पॉलिटिकल मोटिव हो वो नहीं शो होने देते, तो जिधर तो ना हो तो पूरी कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि आप जेस्चर्स ऐसे ना दो कि ये लगे कि आप पॉलिटिक्स में जो है वो इन्वॉल्व हो। थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स।